Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon again, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do the usual disclaimers, if you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called Behavior Modification Program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused. You know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to use your headphones. Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is very much advised. I'm going to try not to go on a political rant. All I'm going to say is this, folks. How in the name of God has society become so goddamn gullible? Seriously, nobody's questioning either side that has held our government and our country hostage for almost 2 decades now. Nobody? Nobody's going to challenge them on all the crap that they're saying. Really? Really? I'm going to tell you what politics really is. You can call me nihilist and you'll be right, a cynic and you'll be right. But at the end of the day, folks, I've seen how things work behind closed doors because I've been there. Remember, fighting for disability rights often means rubbing elbows with said individuals. Neither side gives a single shit about you or me. They use extremist language on either side because they want to whip you up into emotional frenzy, because when they can work you neurotypicals up into an emotional frenzy, they know the default is that you're going to make knee-jerk reactions without taking time to pause and think about what it is that you're doing. They rep up the rhetoric not only as a means to fire up people to get them to ignore their basic instinct to logical, coherent thought, but it also acts as a fantastic smoke and mirrors. So that you're more digging into this agenda versus that agenda as opposed to what's actually going on behind closed doors. The reality is, it's a big club, and you, me, all us regular people, we're not in it. Okay? They are going to tell us whatever it is they think they want, that we want to hear. They're going to whip us up into an emotional frenzy because that's when people start making stupid decisions based entirely off of emotion and not off of logic, facts, evidence, or reason. I'm going to need both sides to miss me with the bullshit. Okay? Spare me. Because the fact of the matter is, folks, if these people actually gave two shits about inflation and price gouging in groceries, something would have been done about it when it started. If they actually cared about the average American the way that they say that they do, they would be actually focusing on domestic problems, domestic infrastructure, domestic things going on, period, instead of literally trying to police and command everybody else. Our house is a mess, folks. Nobody is trying to clean it up. That is reality. And I know people hate when I start saying these things, especially family, but it is what it is. These folks are just two sides of the same coin. Everything you see out in front of the cameras on the Senate and Congress floor, the White House, every single bit of it is nothing but theater. Bad theater at that. All right, enough of my political ranting. I just can't, folks. We got to stop being so damn gullible and so easy for these extremist folks to manipulate. All right? You want sane decisions? You want decent decisions and actual work to put in to actually do something to make this country better? Start holding these people accountable. Not because of an emotional knee jerk reaction. You hold people accountable by showing them the facts and make them start answering those hard questions about how they make promises that they never fulfill. All right, now I'll stop where we left off yesterday. The FDA disagrees. As Congress explained in the legislative history of Section 516 of the FD&C Act, and as the FDA stated in preamble to its banning regulations, and in the preambles to the proposed rules to ban ESDs and glove powder, actual proof of illness or injury is not required. First of all, there is all the evidence on planet Earth of exactly the risks that the FDA has listed multiple times throughout the entirety of this entire document. Okay? But there's no real mountain of evidence that disproves it. There is all the evidence. Legitimately all the evidence on planet Earth that this device is not worth the risk. It doesn't get more real than ER documents and, for the love of God, video surveillance footage. All right, hold on, folks. Just a moment. He's not here anymore, honey. He hasn't lived here in a long time. Oh, really? Okay, no worries. I'll send this back then. All right, thank you. Did he live with you, or you just know he used to live here? He was a temporary roommate, but he moved out like 2 years ago. 2 years ago? Okay, no worries. Thank you. Have a good day. You too. Sorry about that, folks. I had somebody looking for an old roommate. Whew. Interesting, right? So, what I was stating previously. First of all the evidence on planet Earth. Literally, the receipts have receipts to show that absolutely this device it not only runs those risks, but those risks have actually they exist. Second and third degree burns, being shocked into catatonia, a person screaming for it to end? What more evidence does one need? Second point I want to bring up. Did someone have to put a disclaimer on a flamethrower before you understood the concept that it was probably dangerous and infinitely too risky to leave with a child unattended? Do you need the government to put out statements for you to realize that it is a very bad idea to leave a young kid around 5 years old in a home with unlocked doors where they can get a hold of a firearm that's unlocked and loaded? No, because we can understand that the risks, although they have not happened yet, are so great that we are actually going to say, no, let's not do this, and put laws in place to prevent that very thing from happening. Legitimately called preventative care. Okay? That is when you take steps so that, in regards to devices like this, for example, the JRC is first of all blatantly ignoring, as they always do, the receipts upon receipts upon receipts upon receipts dating back closing in on 4 decades of evidence that the devices have done exactly what the FDA is afraid of. Okay? In other words, for those who watched the DEP versus AH trial, AH stands, this is what a real mountain of evidence looks like. Please observe. Right? Number 2, if it looks like something is going to risk severe harm, either physical or psychological, or in cases of devices like this, both, why do we have to prove that the device causes these issues? Why do we have to be heartless fucktards? Pardon me, that came out ableistic, I apologize. But for the love of God, why do we have to actually have somebody suffer all those exact risks before we take action? And what kind of monster are you that you make that kind of demand? Well, you can't tell us to stop until you can prove that these risks are real and that they actually happened. Otherwise, you're just theoretical and you can't make judgment calls off of that. The fuck I can't. The fuck I can't. Any more than I would leave a loaded and off safety gun around a 5-year-old with ready access to it. I don't need the 5-year-old to take it out and shoot themselves in the foot before I make sure that gun is locked up like it's sitting in the back vault of Fort Knox. The hell is wrong with people? Yeah, I know. A lot. A lot. God help us all. But let's continue, shall we? So, the FDA need only find that the device presents requisite degree of risk on the basis of all the available data and information. Which, if you can come to any other conclusion other than what they did, you're being paid to do so, or you are a special level Kool-Aid drinker in deep need of an intervention. The proposed rule to ban glove powder does not state otherwise. The statement cited by the commenter does not address the standard for a device ban, nor does it imply that actual harm is required to meet the standard. In other words, we don't have to sit there and watch a poor kid suffer horribly in order to understand that there is a risk that that is going to happen, and before we actually do something. The idea is that we see the risks ahead of time, measure it against the so-called potential benefits, and make the decision to protect the kid now, before the damage is done. That's called using reason and logic. God help us all. Not only is common sense not common anymore, logic, reason, evidence, facts, people like me are being looked at like we are, I don't know, like I'm a circus monkey for insisting on reason instead of emotional hyperbole. Let's continue, shall we? The statement cited by the commenter does not address the standard for a device ban or that actual harm is needed to meet the standard. It simply states that the evidence relevant to the proceeding indicated that using alternatives would more likely than not result in lower frequency of certain harms relative to glove powder. Now, I really want to turn it around before we get to the end of this. Can someone explain to me, like I'm 5, while pulling up that case in regards to the powder glove has anything to do with a device that shoots electricity through children at just below the lethal limit? Because these things are not even remotely the same. You're doing the same cherry picking shit that everybody else does. And then you get mad when people demand context. The fact of the matter is, we can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that every single risk that the FDA has laid bare in this document multiple times not only is a massive risk, but are risks that have already happened to kids. It doesn't get more real than video surveillance footage, folks. All right. God, I'm tired. These arguments. God. All right, folks. I'm going to close out on that one. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. You know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone.